Right, here we are. So thank you all so much for coming. We're going to get started today by talking about our fun trivia questions. So the first question was the history question. In what year did the first flu vaccine become available to U.S. civilians? Looks like answers are pretty well split amongst everybody, but the correct answer was B, 1945 was the first year that it was available to general public. So nice job if you got that one right. The next question, it looks like we did pretty well on for the most part. The question was, can you get the flu from a flu vaccine? And the options were yes, no, or only in some situations. And the correct answer is no, you really cannot get the flu from the flu shot because it is an inactivated form of the virus. The next question, do I really need a flu vaccine every year? For the most part, 87% of us said yes, and that is correct. Every year, our body needs to have a reminder of what pathogens we are looking for. Thanks to Sophie for dropping some of these background into the chat. And the final question is, when does the flu vaccine start protecting us from getting sick? Does it protect us as soon as we get the jab? The next day? Does it take a week to kick in, or does it take 2 weeks? And the correct answer is it takes 2 weeks for your body to build up all the antibodies that will protect you from getting the flu. So thank you all for participating in that fun trivia. You can share all those fun facts with those around you. So today we are going to talk a little bit about the vaccine program. We'll remind you about the survey that's coming up, that's open, that you can keep filling out. And then we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that you've reported on that are really amazing. And we'll wrap up by talking about our upcoming challenges with a reminder that Q4 is short. So very exciting, drum roll, flu and COVID vaccines. So this is our flu poster. You should have received that in your email. I believe it was last week that we sent that out. And you can print those, you can send them to people via PDF. There's a little QR code on the bottom left that takes you right to the sign up page if you want to print them out, stick them in the bathroom stalls, put them on the refrigerator. Has anybody gotten to print out some flu posters yet? I know we've got a couple of good printers on this crew. Okay, cool. So the next slide I'm actually going to leave up for a little bit because this is a nice visual of when we're going to be where. So you should be able to take a quick minute and find out when we'll be in your area. Go Jessica has them on all of the wellness boards. That's amazing. Thank you for doing that. So our schedule is up there, and you'll see that means that we're pretty busy for the month of October and into the first week of November. So we've been receiving a ton of presentation requests from you folks, which is amazing. We love doing that. It's super cool that you are involving wellness in your staff meetings. We love doing those. However, this flu schedule means that we're pretty well full for the month of October. So you can still email us and see if there's something that we can help you with a little bit, a little bit more hands off. If you want to run a wellness team thing within your group, we can maybe talk with you about some ideas. But as far as us coming in and physically doing presentations in October and the first week of November, chances are pretty good that we'll already be booked on whatever day. So you should be able to click on this page to get to the registration sheet. And Sophie's also put the link in the chat very nicely. So you should be able to get in and make your appointment. I think this has been up long enough so that you can see what we're going to be with. So we will move on. The next topic we're talking about is the feedback survey. So give a thumbs up or something if you have taken the survey. Anybody gotten in and taken the survey yet? One. Okay, awesome.
I did, yes.
Okay, cool. We're getting some answers. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. These surveys help us incredibly to make sure that what we're planning and what we're putting out there is helpful to everybody who's participating. And you can also earn $25 pretty quickly if you have insurance with Blue Cross through State of Vermont. And if you don't have Blue Cross through State of Vermont, we will enter you in a drawing to win a wellness prize. So it's a win-win. You get to tell us what you think and you get rewarded for it. Make sure that you have also reminded everybody on your team that this is something that we're looking for. Okay, woohoo, thank you so much. The next thing we'll talk about is some of the amazing things that you all have been doing on this quarter. So just as a reminder, the points survey went out and you have until this Friday to finish that if you haven't yet done it. Please try to only fill it out once. We got 21 back as of yesterday when I put these slides together. If you haven't filled it out yet, I believe you can click on that link and you can get in there and tell us all the wonderful things that you've done. So you should see these points show up towards the first half of the week next week in your portals. All right, so here's what we've heard. Looks like some group is taking their meetings outside. They're going for a walk for meeting and talking, which is amazing. That sounds like a great way to meet, and they've been seeing it increase productivity and morale, which is two great reasons to take your walking meetings outside. So big kudos to the ambassador who is leading walking meetings instead of desk meetings. I always love pointing out when people get to help a colleague answer a live well question. It sounds so mundane, but it is the most important thing. And this person noticed that it proved that their employees were logging into the portal, which is really cool too. So thank you for answering all those questions. We don't ever want to minimize anything that you're doing. This is really the foundation of the ambassador program. Also, someone gave a shout out to Sophie for coming to the staff retreat to lead a movement break in the sunshine, everybody at their own level. So that is something that's available, probably not much during the month of October, but in general, we are available to come in and do those sorts of things. So kudos to the ambassador who is taking advantage of this. And here we go. We've got our printers, our good printers on the crew. So this person is posting them on the refrigerator at work. And this is really important because exactly what this person said, people skim their email and it doesn't always sink in, but having it printed in a central place is a great way to bring to people the events and the things that are happening with wellness. This is an update on the walking group that's been happening in one of the offices, which is pretty awesome because not only do they walk, but they talk about wellness while they're walking. And it looks like they are building momentum and getting more participants, which is great. So that's just a reminder, if you start something and you get low participation, just keep going and people will hear about it and people will start attending. All right, so round of applause to all those ambassadors who are doing all those amazing things in your offices. Thank you so much. We're super excited to hear about what's going well and what's working. So we love that. All right, so wellness screenings are over. We just wanted to say a big thank you for everybody who got your teams in, who came and got a screening with us. It was so much fun meeting everybody around the state. We really loved that, and it's really great to know your numbers. I did want to tell how many we did. So we believe, if all counts are correct, 656 state employees screened through this program, which is amazing considering that a lot of offices are hybrid. So there aren't quite as many people in the office. However, we still managed to see 656 people for screenings this year, which is super cool. Okay, so that brings us to, yeah, thanks, John. It is a pretty good amount. Yeah, so it's good to see all of you while we were out there. All right, so Q4. So the theme for Q4 is optimism. And we are, optimism is like the catchphrase, the word for the quarter. And that really means to us prevention. So that's things like getting all appropriate seasonal shots, like the flu shots and the COVID shots, getting all your age appropriate screenings, making sure that you've gotten your physical and your dental cleaning and all those other good things that are covered with the state plan. And I think I forgot to mention, I'm actually going to dial back really quick back to the flu and COVID schedule, just because I forgot to mention that we've been getting a lot of questions about which COVID shot we're offering. So I did want to clear up any confusion and let everybody know that it is the newest COVID shot against the latest variant. It's the one that just got approved last week by FDA and CDC. And so we haven't officially gotten I think that we're still waiting on the chain of command for all of the pieces to fall in place for the vendor to get the actual vaccine in their hands, but we are expecting that that will probably happen before the first clinic. You are welcome. You are welcome, Jennifer. Any other questions about flu clinics before we go back to Q4? So the official word is yes, it will be the most recent one, but we don't have them in our hands yet. We're still waiting on the pieces to fall into place. Okay, cool. Thank you. So back to quarter four. So just a reminder, these were all of the themes that we covered over the year. Mental health, cardiovascular health, musculoskeletal health, and now we're on to the preventative care quarter. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Sophie now to talk about the challenges that we are going to see in quarter four for optimism or prevention.
Hi, everybody, and thanks so much for taking the time to be here today. So these are the challenges that we have coming up. Mindful mobility, we're tracking 10 minutes of activity a day. It can be done through a routine of your choice if you already have one that you love. You can use some of the suggestions that we have as part of the challenge. And mindfulness is part of the challenge too. So if you were to suddenly start doing mobility training and one day you said, "Ooh, I need a little bit of a break," there's some mindfulness activities that you could do as well. So just if that factors in balance for anybody. Um, and then, oh, also I wanted to mention with this challenge, because we're tracking time, it's important to note that there's a minimum completion requirement of 10 minutes per day for each of the 5 days. So if you were to do 9.5 minutes of mobility work, please just log 10 minutes. Because you can't log 9 minutes one day and then 11 minutes the next. It won't meet the requirements. And I just wanted to make a little note of that for everybody. Um, and and yeah, moving on to the comfort zone competition. Um, this is not a competition, really. It's a challenge, though, and it's you versus you, right? So when I'm choosing how far to step outside my comfort zone, I'm choosing a degree that is beneficial for me. It's a little bit of a stretch, but it's not a giant leap outside my comfort zone. It's not a panic attack inducing jump. So experimenting with pushing the comfort zone and expanding it in small ways that are relevant and meaningful for you. If you have a team that might be into this, it could be very, very, very fun to do as a team, because then there's sort of a different awareness that somebody might be going out of their way to give compliments that day. And then you guys can sort of laugh together about it and support each other. So if that helps you factor in fun ways to do it. And then in November, we have a Hack Your Habits challenge. This is another short one. It's only 1 week long, but working on strategies to build habits, improve habits, replace old habits with a new habit, and just explore all of the strategies that we have to work with our own bodies here, and not against your natural human nature. So sort of using that hack word not as a shortcut, but understanding our bodies and then making better choices and setting ourselves up for success that way. Um, and yeah, and getting you some of these strategies set for awareness. Now, obviously, 1 week isn't enough to lock in an entire habit, but it is enough time to expose you to a few strategies that we're hoping will be beneficial and enjoyable for you. Does anybody have questions on those 3 challenges? You can always email us later if you come across something or if you were to think, "Oh gosh, the comfort zone challenge sounds interesting, but I want to see like what does a day in a comfort zone challenge look like?" When you're tracking for that one, you just list the number of times that you left your comfort zone that day. It's very it could be very personal. So just listing the number of times, and all you have to do is have left your comfort zone once 5 days per week. Hope, do you want to talk about the intuitive eating challenge?
Sure. Thank you. So the last challenge of the fourth quarter, which is also the last challenge of the year, is an intuitive eating introduction. It's not so much a challenge as it is just 10 days of experimenting with some of the principles of intuitive eating. So this is actually based off of a 10 Days of Intuitive Eating series that the founders of this movement put together a couple of years ago. So it has 3 different levels that you can do each day. There's a level for people who are really new to it, haven't heard about it, but want to learn a little bit more. There is a level for people who are really excited about getting started, but don't have a lot of experience or background in intuitive eating. And then the third category is for people who feel like they're already intuitive eaters and want to strengthen their knowledge and kind of solidify their feelings around intuitive eating. So there will be something for everybody in this one. And the 10 Days of Intuitive Eating line up with that there are 10 principles of intuitive eating. And this challenge is designed to be really flexible so that you can meet yourself where you are, where you're comfortable. So there are 10 days to cover 10 challenges, but you don't have to cover all 10 principles, but you don't have to cover all 10 principles during these 2 weeks. So you get to choose which number of which principle you want to explore each day. And if you just want to explore principle 3 10 days in a row, that's okay if that's where you're comfortable. So it is designed to give you the opportunity to check in with each of the 10 principles over the 10 days. But if there's one that you're like, I'm not quite there, I'm not ready for that, you can skip it and double up on another day. So that one should be a good exploration and an introduction. Again, it's not designed to make you an intuitive eater in 2 weeks, but it is a good introduction for what it means and how to get that direction. Yeah, so Jessica Pleasure has a good question about email reminders to log during a challenge. Those emails are intended to come, 2 to 3 times a week for most of the challenges, and those go out the same way that some of the other emails go out. So if you aren't receiving those, like Sophie said, we can look into why you're not getting those emails. But those are typically part of the challenges. So good question. All right, so our next reminder is that Q4 is short. You're going to hear that a lot from us over the next couple of weeks because it is very different from the rest of the quarters. It's only 2 months instead of 3, so it ends on midnight on December 1st. So you'll want to make sure that you get all your points in by midnight. One thing that you can log this quarter that hasn't been available is to log your flu shot at the State of Vermont Clinic. So you can actually log your flu shot, and you can also log another doctor's appointment. So that's a little bit different from previous quarters to help you get your points a little bit more quickly in the shorter quarter. All right, so that really brings us to all of our updates for this quarter. Next quarterly update meeting, we'll be talking a lot about the new wellness portal that we'll be rolling out for 2024. So the next meeting is a really good one to not miss because there will be a lot of new information in that one. Does anybody have any questions or anything to add? Anything they want to share that's been going well with their group? The floor is yours.
I wanted to just mention we had the EAP come to a staff meeting, which was incredible. So like LiveWell is also incredible. We've used them many times, but if you're looking for someone for a staff meeting and LiveWell is busy, EAP is also a fantastic option. She was incredible.
That's a really good point. Yes, thank you so much for bringing that up, especially for the month of October while we're doing flu clinics. EAP is another wonderful, great resource that comes in and does presentations on a lot of different topics. Thank you for reminding us of that. Okay, so feel free to email us as always. We're always here for you, and we so appreciate all the work that you do. And we'll look forward to seeing you all at flu clinics. Bye.
Bye, thanks.